All right, good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm your host, Samantha Studebaker-Carl, and I'm here with my good friends Dan and Leon and Catherine. And today we are finishing up the book, The Wisdom of Sundays by Oprah Winfrey. And we're kind of going to, I guess we're going to just kind of do a little bit of a review of the book, maybe talk about the epilogue and some of what is discussed in there, and just share our thoughts. Kind of as a wrap up for this before we move on to the next one. But for those of you who are watching, if you want to participate with us, there'll be some information below this video where you can jump into our Facebook group. That's the best way to connect with us and find out what's going on, and then learn what our next book is going to be. So, but before we get going, I want to give everybody an opportunity to introduce themselves. So guys, go ahead, jump out and tell us who you are, where you are in the world.
Hello, I'm Catherine Clement. I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and looking forward to finishing up this book and figuring out what we're going to read next.
Dan Sisek in sunny, hot Las Vegas. Wow. Or everybody else thinks it's kind of hot. It's only in the low hundreds here. So to me, it's like, okay, this is nothing. Ready and looking forward to, finishing up the book and going on with whatever we start working on, deciding for the next chapter. So thanks, and looking forward to the discussion.
I'm Leon Alexander, and I guess you can kind of say I'm a citizen of all the states. I travel everywhere. I'm a truck driver. But when I'm not working, I'm mainly in Tucson, Arizona.
Awesome. So we've got, I'm over in Indianapolis. I forgot to mention that when I was talking, Indianapolis, Indiana. So I'm over kind of closer to the East Coast. And so we've got people from all over the place. And generally Sandy jumps on here with us too, and she's in Miami. So, but she's working this morning, so she can't be with us. But today, let's see, let's kind of start with, well, I've got the epilogue here in front of me, so I'll just kind of read this. And what's interesting, and we've discussed this before, is just the differences between the audio version and the written version of this book. And I had listened to the audio version, and it just is kind of like the first part of the epilogue where Oprah kind of gives her little thoughts. And then in this written version, it goes on and it asks multiple questions, and she kind of gives quotes from multiple different people. So it's really interesting how this whole book and the audio are put together. It was very fascinating. So I liked the fact that you can get the book and read one thing and learn something, and then listen to the audio and learn something completely different. Maybe we should just start with that of kind of a wrap up for this book. What do you think? Just like a review, and then maybe, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, guys? What do you want to talk about today? We can talk about whatever. It doesn't matter.
I think that sounds good, as long as the ghost sleeve doesn't keep flying in our. It looked like you had something hanging, and it was, no, I'm teasing you. I'm giving you a hard time. And I just saw that and thought it was funny. It's like, as you were talking, it's like it looked like it was kind of gravitated towards you. No, it didn't bother me. I'm just teasing you because it was just so funny, because you were oblivious to it. You didn't even see it.
Can you still see it? Yeah, is it?
Oh,
Nope.
no, I'm teasing
Okay,
you.
good.
It didn't bother me.
I didn't even realize it was in the camera view, but I have this curtain hanging up here to block like the afternoon sun, and I kind of like wadded it up to the end so that it wouldn't, so I could get some breeze through here, and because the sun's not shining over here right
But
now.
it was funny because it's like I could tell that a little breeze came by, and it's like, oh, I said it's going to attack her. But yeah, no, I like that idea. I don't know about Leanna and Catherine, but I like that idea.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow the leader.
Okay, well, tell us what you guys thought about the book as a whole. I'll just start there. It's I don't know, who wants to go first, or shall I just start blah blah blahing? Anybody want to jump in?
I really enjoyed the book. You know, I have read a lot of the authors that she interviewed, so it was, you know, some of it was new and some of it was reminders, and some of it, you know, it's kind of like you could read the same book 15 times and get something different out of it every time, depending on where you're at personally at the time, right? So I thought it was great. It was really interesting how different the Audible was from the written version. Um, I didn't get a chance to read through all the questions she asked at the end, you know, and all the responses, but I will go through and do that. But you know, they all pretty much brought the same message. They speak, you know, it's kind of like religions. They all spoke differently, but they all said about the same thing, which um, I think we all resonated well with. And it's a book that, you know, I will go back to. Some books I just read and then it goes on the shelf and I know I'm never going to touch it again. But I think this is a book that I'll probably open up again at certain times and revisit. And those authors that she interviewed that I haven't read, I'll be sure to pick up their stuff and read their stuff as well.
Yeah, I really liked this book for, well, I like the fact that, well, I had two things. Kind of, I liked it, but I didn't like it. I'll say that. I liked the fact that it was different. The audiobook was different from the written book, but I didn't like that also, you know, because I felt like it was interesting to be able to listen to one and read the other one and get different insights. But at the same time, I felt like it would have been nice if the audiobook had also uh, had the written part in there, so that if when I didn't have time to read the physical book, I could have just listened to it on my way back and forth to work. I think that would have been cool. So that's kind of like one thing I didn't like, but I also did like it because I liked listening to the interviews. Like you said, Catherine, you know, when you learn something about an author that you've probably heard about before, but yet you've never read anything, and then you kind of get to hear a little bit of their insights on you know, a specific topic, and that kind of sparks you to be interested in the book that they've read or that they wrote. Kind of like with Gary Zukav, he was the one that wrote The Seed of the Soul, I think, and I had never read that book. I have it; it's on my shelf, you know, but I've never read it, and it sparked me to want to pick that one up and see and learn more about what his thought process is and what his insights are. I think it's just really interesting. That's kind of one of the reasons why we do this, is to really get ideas from other people on just everyday life and you know, just kind of look at things from a different perspective. So that was really cool. And of course, in the book, each topic was she just did like little excerpts from different people, and that was really neat. So I really like that part of it. What do you think, Dan?
Well, seeing how I was having trouble, because I know I'd gotten the ebook or something at one point in time, and I can't find where I put it on either my phone or my laptop. But when I first got it, I looked at it, and it was, you know, interesting that, you know, you had the two different little takes, and which a lot of times with a lot of audio books, you get the books, you get the audio of the very same. So this, I think, in essence, kind of made it possible to look at it from different angles and maybe put a different lens on it to each one of the ways that you look at it. And if you did both, you kind of, like, well, Catherine said, it was kind of, similar, and yes, at the heart of it, the idea and everything got conveyed across kind of the same, but you still could get different perspectives depending on the audio version or the book version of how she played it out. And I think, if I'm right, the book was a little more in depth with various different people, excerpts or little synopsis of the different people that she dealt with, whereas the audio was maybe one or two people. And so therefore, and maybe in the audio, maybe that what she was trying to pull out was what she thought was the main component of what she felt was what people might need to focus on, or what she felt was the most helpful, or that people might get the most benefit from. So maybe that's how I look at it, and I'm kind of like you. I liked that idea, but I didn't like it because I tend to like, okay, if I read it, but yet I don't have time to read it and I want to listen to the audio and pick up from the audio, I can pick up and know that it's going to be the same. So
I guess we lost Leon, but we gained Sandy. Hey, Sandy. But that's okay. So we all liked it, and we all had different perspectives on the, or similar perspective on how it's different from the audio to the written version. So, was there any particular part of the book that struck you the most, or gave you the biggest insight or breakthrough, or anything like that? Got in that direction?
say that again.
I know my question was vague. Is there any particular part of the book that you liked the best, or that you had the biggest insight or breakthrough from, or just anything that jumps out at you as the best part of the book for you? What'd you like best?
This is going to sound weird the way I say this, because I think, how I've expressed my views and my beliefs and my, how I believe. But I found it interesting that as I was going through, because I really thought it was going to, because I'm not the biggest, I'll admit, I'm not the biggest Oprah Winfrey fan. But I think in this book, it helped me to get a better insight of why she does what she does and why she is the way she is. And it made me appreciate her a little bit more, and take a little more stock of where she's at and how she's doing things. But it also kind of helped add a dimension into how I look at things and my beliefs, but it didn't change my beliefs or anything. It just kind of, opened my mind a little bit more to, how I look at things and how I, put my thoughts out there and what I do and stuff like that. And, you know, especially the last chapter, that lady who, I really resonated with that lady for a lot of, things, because of how she was really expressing her views and her beliefs, but in a different way than how I do mine. But yet I still could go, oh, okay, I see what you're getting at. I get how you are saying that, and that kind of blew me away, because I wasn't really expecting that. I was really kind of expecting a very, Hollywoodish view of things and stuff like that. And to me, she didn't come across that way as having that, sense and stuff. I really felt a genuineness of what she believed in and what she was doing, and I think that really changed my perception of her in a lot of ways.
Which person were you talking about, Dan?
Oprah overall, but
well, I meant you were saying the last person in the.
I can't remember in the last chapter we did last week, or the one I listened or what I listened to. The lady talking, I can't remember, but she really spoke about how she believes in God and how she prays and how she really and stuff. And while I didn't, I don't resonate with how she, because she believes that, you don't need to go to church, you don't need to be, and that's where I differ, because I believe I need my, my church and my stuff and things like that. But the core, what she was talking about, and how she prays and talks and believes and, connects with God, that's what that part of it, kind of like, oh, okay. But my overall perception was I was talking about Oprah overall and how I've always perceived her. And I think this book really opened me up to a lot of what she really is about and what she's trying to do and what she's trying to effectively open people up to. And it really did change my perception of her. And like I said, it took away that Hollywoodization of her in a sense, and that she really has her own, purpose that she's out there for, and expanding and opening people up to, bigger and better things, which is what we're all trying to do. So, and that's why I said it kind of really changed my perception of her, and that she is not like a lot of people in Hollywood, although in other ways she is still too, but it just changed my perception of her.
I gotcha. Yeah, I kind of felt similar. I mean, I knew that Oprah was doing more because I've listened to a few of her other things that she's done on just videos that I don't know if they were Super Soul Sunday things or if they were, I don't remember. But I've heard a few of her live interviews on video, and it's been, I like her better this way than I did when she was doing her Oprah show, and I think that she mentioned something in there about that at some point in one of the audios. She talked about how she changed from doing the Oprah show over to doing the Super Soul Sundays, and I know I don't know what she's doing now, because I think she's been doing the Super Soul Sunday thing for a long time, and that may be an older chapter of her life too. I'm just not entirely sure because I haven't been following her recently, but you can definitely see where her growth has happened over the years, and I've definitely connected more with her in this book than what I did previously. So yeah, I completely get that. So Leon, have you read the whole book? I know you just kind of jumped on at the end of our conversations with the last chapter, but did you read any of it prior to?
No, I haven't read the book. Wasn't able to purchase it last week. I was just too busy to do anything but drive. Actually did over 5,000 miles during the week, so I was very busy.
I gotcha. That's a lot of miles. Oh man. Mm-hmm. I don't envy you. Mm-hmm. So Sandy, can you talk, or are you just strictly driving?
1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, jump out whenever you're ready. We were just kind of wrapping up for this book, so.
How about Catherine? Any thoughts from Catherine, or can she really speak, or is she in the middle of fielding questions for something else?
Nope, I'm not fielding questions. I agree. I have sort of that love-hate relationship with the book. The thing that I think is sad is that if somebody buys just the Audible or just the written book, they're missing out on a lot. They don't even know it. That's kind of the sad thing. But it's a great marketing strategy if you think about it. And Oprah is a brilliant businesswoman. So, there's certainly that aspect. I find it interesting that, and I don't want to offend anybody when I say this, and I'm not sure how it's going to come out, but anyway, like I just think it's interesting. People who are very religious, they seem to believe only in their own religion, and even when they read about spiritual things, they seem to be okay with reading spiritual things about different people, but when it comes to their religion, they're very stuck on their own religion. It's a strange, like to me, religion is just like spirituality. They're all talking about the same thing. Like there's not just one, but I don't understand why there's such a separation. And I think that's one of the things that we've been kind of trying to do here in a weird sort of way. It's sort of blending, entrepreneurship and spirituality and religion, and just being able to look at the teachings of different people, whether they're business people or spiritual leaders or religious leaders, and having enough a sense of ourselves and enough control and power over our own thoughts and understanding, figuring out what our beliefs are, to study each one of those people and take what works for us and leave the rest, basically. And I wish that everybody could just do that with everything. But there seems to be certain topics that are very buttonholed, and like they have these boards, they have that wall around them that you can't get through. And the thing that makes me sad about that is I think it's fear-based. I think it comes from early childhood and from being told you're going to hell and this, that, and the other. And then people won't make their own choices based out of those fears. And I think that's one of the things that we help do here is to examine some of those things and examine fear in particular, where that comes from, where those fears come from, and how we can counteract those, find better ways.
You ready to jump out, Sandy? You need somebody to unmute you? Can you unmute her, Catherine? There you go.
There we go. It's hard to find that little button. Where do I start? Well, yeah, I like what you were saying, Catherine, and I think like a lot of the books that we're doing are helping people open their minds. I mean, I study so many different religions and take pieces from different things and what works for me, and it's all based from the same thing, really, in the end. So it's just, like we know, don't get me on a tangent here about all this, but like, these religious wars that go on for centuries and eons, and it's just not, it's like over nonsense. It's all coming from the same source. All of these things are coming from the same source. And so, yeah, it boggles my mind that there's all this separation and discord over different religions and stuff. And, for me, I go to different things. I've grown up Protestant and Methodist, and then I go to Kabbalah classes now to learn about Jewish mysticism. I've read different kinds of religions, and they all come from the same source in the end, and just talked about in different ways. So yeah, these books are, I think, giving us insights from different people who come from different religions or spiritualities, and we all end up having like the same insights, the same fear, the same love. We realize we're all the same in the end. Yeah, but that's one thing I loved about this book, is it helped me learn about other people out there, because a lot of times I'd see someone write a passage, or that were interviewed, or a quote from somebody in there, and I've never heard of their name, so I would Google their name, and okay, that's cool, like this person's doing that. So it helped me learn about other people out there, what they're doing. And yeah, there's just so many viewpoints, and so I think that's a great thing about the book, is having different insights from different people in every chapter was nice. I like that, because it mixed it up, and I think every chapter sort of flowed from the last one in a nice way. I think we said that on one hangout, we were just automatically talking about the next chapter and realized, that's the next chapter. So yeah, I didn't have the audio book, so I don't know what that version was really like. But I like the book, and the book is cute because it's something, if you one day just want a topic on forgiveness, you can just flip open and pick a quote there and read it and say, okay, cool. And just have a little blurb of something to read in the morning or throughout the day. It's one of those kind of books that are nice to just open to a page and see what you open up to. So those are my thoughts for now.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way, Sandy, about it being a book where you could just open up on a particular topic depending on what you're thinking or feeling that day or struggling with, or that sort of thing. And that's totally true, because with the book version, it's got all these different authors in there, and you can just open it up and have a different perspective from a different person on any particular day. So that's pretty awesome. Anybody else have any final thoughts on this book?
Well, I was just going to jump out and say I was doing a little Googling about Oprah and what, and I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but I was kind of surprised that there's an actual Facebook page for her, and that on the 27th, so what, that was Thursday or Wednesday? Wednesday? She, or maybe, what day? Wait, let me go back to, there it is. It says that on, the 28th, so that would have been Thursday, that she was live on Facebook answering questions live from Hawaii, that she was sitting down with author Ray Hinton talking about his book, from her latest book club pick, The Sun Does Shine. So she's still active and doing some things, and it sounds like she's still kind of doing, interview type stuff, but through maybe a different thing, like her, I guess, this book club thing or something, because I've heard about her being involved in like a book club, or that she's doing. So that might be now born out of her Super Soul Sundays, where she can still do interviewing type stuff, but she's doing it on a different vein, because I know that on her Oprah channel, which I actually can get sometimes, and I can watch some of the programming on her. I was shocked at that. She got stuff on there by Tyler Perry, and she's got other shows and other things and stuff and things like that. So it sounds like her television stuff is going good too. So that so it doesn't sound like she's really slowing down. She just might be changing the vein of how she's doing it. But that's as of June 28th. That was 2 days ago, and so still spreading things out there and giving back to people and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see that there was actually a Facebook page. I was really, I'm being honest, I was really shocked that I'm sure she has people that run it, but that she was sitting down and doing a Facebook Live, something planned. out of her day and stuff to interview somebody. So in that sense, you know, um, you know, and here I am thinking, so what am I doing to, give back or share or do and things like that? Because I think we're all trying to do things, within our realms of what will help manifest and impact us and help us towards the lives that we're looking for, but at the same point still be out there and impact people out there and help them with their lives too. So um, that's just my little last bit.
Yeah, Oprah's all over the place. Facebook, I've been following her for years on there, and Instagram. She's big on Instagram. I follow her on Instagram too. Lots of followers on Instagram. I'm like, ooh, my idol. I want that 500,000 followers. Oh, I have to park now.
Uh,
I thought it was
Christina. Oh, go
definitely,
ahead.
an enjoyable book. I would recommend it for people, and I'm not sure, what book we're going to go to next. We voted on a few. It looks like most of the votes are for the 5 Love Languages, which is a great book and very, very life-changing for anyone who hasn't been exposed to it.
What was that last part you said? Very, very what? You kind of cut out there at the end.
Life-changing for those that haven't been exposed to that information.
Yeah, that's awesome. Christina just messaged in the group, and let's see. Oh, okay. I thought maybe she was going to jump on, but she's not. But yeah, do we before we start talking about the next book, do we want to read any of this epilogue, or do we just want to wrap it up for today? And what do you guys think? I mean, we've talked about pretty much everything in here.
I'm cool with if we call it a day and kind of that way we can all continue to think of I voted for what I voted and stuff, so and go from there. And once if we actually decide what we're going with next, find my way of somehow getting the book and go from there.
Okay. All right. Well, I was looking in the group, and if we wanted to, I mean, I think everybody that participates with us regularly has already put their vote in. So I'm thinking we just go ahead and go with the vote. Let me jump over here and just make sure I know. Catherine, you said that everybody, or the most votes were for the 5 love languages, right? Yeah, okay. I guess I can, give everybody who happens to be watching an opportunity to jump in the Facebook group, and we can give it a couple more days before we say absolutely for sure. But it looks like the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman is going to be our next book. And so I think we should just call it. We'll just call it that. What do you think? Everybody vote yes?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, because everybody's already voted anyway, so we'll just call that. And what is today? Today is the 30th. So we usually give everybody about 2 weeks to get the book, so that would put us at the 14th. So jumping back in on the 14th. Sound like a plan? So Saturday the 14th. Now, I wanted to bring up one other thing, and for those of you guys who are watching this as a recording, let's just wrap up because I'll bring this up after we get off. So everybody who's watching, jump below the video and jump into our Facebook group so you can participate with us, and you'll find the link down there to get in the group and find out how to participate with us on these live shows or recordings, and then you can jump in with our next book, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. So with that, guys, have a great, awesome, amazing weekend, and we'll see you next week on the Saturday Morning Mastermind. Bye for now.